and the others will address on a one-to-one basis. Quickly running on to the requirements of the program for the investors and the entrepreneurs. Typically, the applicants are required to provide a tailor-made business plan of their proposition about, what is the idea, what is it that they want to do, and typically it covers in a 3-year period, which shows the amount of investment, the jobs that you'll be looking at creating, so on and so forth. Now, a lot of times people ask a question to say that, do I have to put the money in, or how soon do I have to put the money in? Well, the answer to that question is entrepreneurs generally get for a minimum of 6 months and a maximum of 2 years to set up their businesses and to meet the requirements. So when the visa is granted, or when the PR is granted, the applicant and the province sign in a performance agreement. And the performance agreement is premised on the fact that the applicant says, I'm going to deliver this to you within a period of 2 years. And if you're able to, you're allowed to then switch on to the regular PR, and that forms your pathway to the citizenship. And the PNP program allows the spouses and dependent children to join the main applicant. So in that sense, it is still a family visa. It allows the spouses and the children to join. Children get the same rights towards education, and everybody gets access to the healthcare. So in that sense, it's a very strong category. One category that we look at quite a lot and we see a lot of interest in is the owner-operator pathway. Now, the owner-operator pathway is where we see an investor or an entrepreneur who acquires a business or launches a new one anywhere in Canada. So it's not specific to one province, it's not specific to one area. This could be anywhere in Canada. So what the business then does is it applies for the work visa for that owner, and hence the phrase owner-operator. Once an owner-operator has worked for 12 months on a temporary visa, they can then transition to the express entry, because now they've got 12 points, now they've got extra points for the Canadian work experience. So typically what we look at from an owner-operator pathway is to say that this is a 2-stage process. First, you get in a work permit, stay there for a minimum of 12 months, transition from that to the express entry program, or transition from that to the PNP program that we just saw before. So you could top up your investment, you could top up your commitment to the province, or if you had enough points, you could switch over to the express entry route. So in that sense, the owner-operator is a good bridging visa, which allows you to put a foot in the door to get there. So typically the requirement is that the applicant do set up a business in Canada, or they invest in a business which is running, and generally either the applicant will transfer in the full monies and buy the business, or they will have the money in an escrow account, or they would have paid a nominal sum as a part of this particular transaction. So there is an agreement in principle, which basically then says that this is the money, this is what I intend to do, and that's something which is acceptable. Or alternately, the applicant can transfer a part of the fees, generally 10% or 20% kind of a thing. So it's a declaration of intent to the CIC that I'm serious about this. Now, again, the owner-operator also allows the main applicant to have their spouse and children to join them, and the spouses can apply for an open work permit or are on an open work permit, which allows them to work should they choose to. So again, there is that freedom which is available. The key part that you need to consider for the owner-operator is your next stage. What we see in a lot of instances is that we interact with a lot of people who've either been misadvised on this category before, or they did not understand the nuances clearly. So they made the first jump thinking that this is the only thing there is to it, and then at the end of the time period, they're not able to transition to a more permanent status, and that creates a bit of a challenge, and there's a bit more work that needs to be done. So the good idea is to kind of first check whether you would be able to make the transition to the second stage to get a PR. Remember, you still need to qualify with the English language. You still need to score a higher points on the IELTS. The only benefit that the owner operator will give you is it earns you the extra points for the Canadian work experience. So in that sense, it's an investment that you're making towards it. And people continue to hold businesses even after they've transitioned to PR. That's perfectly acceptable. Or you could sell and exit your business, even that's acceptable. So it's not something that you're committed to all that while. But it's very important for you to have that awareness on there. And the intercompany transfer is a very popular route that we work with a lot of our corporate clients. Typically, here the foreign company is setting up a Canadian branch or an affiliate or a subsidiary, and and again, the person who's being nominated has been an employee of the parent company or the company outside of Canada for at least 1 year on a full-time basis. So this is a key requirement. So it's not something that you could do for a new joiner, but it is something that you could do if you have been working with a company for at least 12 months. Typically, the CIC will look at why this particular person has been chosen, what is their specialized knowledge, what is the skill set that they're going to bring, and why cannot the person just recruit locally in Canada. So the applicant is required to demonstrate being in that specialized knowledge position or being a senior or a managerial position person. And just like we saw with the owner operator, if someone's been on the intra-company transfer for 12 months, they do qualify for Canadian work experience points. And again, it becomes a stepping stone to a federal worker route under the express entry. So so in that sense, again, an intra-company transfer also works if you are into a family-owned business, or if if you're working in a closely held company, then an intra-company transfer kind of helps to make that transition a lot more easier. From our perspective, what we are able to do is, we've worked with clients across different industries. We work with clients in different domains, so we understand how the different businesses will work. We're able to take an objective approach. So, for us, we're not committed to one program or one route only. We have the diversity to manage applications across different programs. So we don't get stuck to say, well, we're going to put you through on this route because that's the only one that we know. So that's not the approach that we would take. And from our perspective, the whole idea is to begin with the end in mind. So once we are confident that, yes, we can see this through, and the client will have the answers to it, it's only then do we begin the journey, because otherwise there isn't any, there's no point in starting out with something which is, this big. Um, so it's not only Canada that we look at. As a business, we offer in support to individuals who would want to set up in the US, either on an L1 visa or the EB5. We also represent clients from the Middle East who want to apply for an E2 visa, where they either get a citizenship for Grenada, Turkey, and then as an E2 national, they will apply for an entry clearance into the US. So it's a very popular category in the Middle East, and we're seeing some interest from East Africa in here as well. So again, for guests who are joining in from these locations, this could be worth something that you could look at. You could look at. Um, we're also able to kind of assist individuals with investment opportunities in the US. So not only people who are looking for migration, but if they are looking at any kind of investment opportunities without migrating, we can even facilitate that. Um, our expertise also extends to the UK, where we've got different routes that we work with businesses. The sole representative visa is a very popular option because there is no minimum investment, there is no job creation guarantee. The only catch is that the applicant should not be a majority shareholder in the business. So, a lot of people prefer taking in that route if they were looking at UK as an option as well. And we also carry out a lot of golden visas for PR into Europe, countries like Greece, Malta, Portugal. So depending on the budget, we can match the expectations for the clients, and for a really high net worth individuals, we also look at citizenships by investment. So the point about sharing these last few slides is to show that we don't have a one track approach to say that, okay, look, we're only going to look at things with this prism. We have the ability to have an open ended thought process to say that what's your end objective and what's the best way that's going to help you to get there. And I believe that's one of the factors, that we are able to be successful in that extent, is because for us every interaction with the client is more personalized, it's more tailor-made, and it's unique to that client's needs and their requirements. Right. So, more questions coming in, and it also brings us to the Q&A session right now. So as I said before as well, we're trying to go through as many questions as possible, but the ones that we're not will be coming back to you individually. So we've got one question. One of the participants wants to know what is the minimum cost from a PNP entrepreneurial pathway perspective, or what are the typical costs? Sorry, I misread that. What are the typical costs in the PNP entrepreneurial pathway process? Well, typically you're paying fees for the government fees. There's fees for preparation of the business plan. There are professional fees from our perspective. And one of the things is possibly having an exploratory visit to the province. Um, Kind of not possible in the scenario right now. But pre-COVID, that was one thing that people could claim extra points by having an exploratory visit to the province as well. So those are the kind of expenses that you would need to budget for. Um, I've got another question for the owner operator. Do you identify the business or do we have to identify the business? Um, well, it can go either way. If you already know a business, or if you have friends or family who have identified a business that you want to be a part of, we're happy to work with that and build your application on it. If you're not able to, then we do have a business finding service based on the provinces, or based on where you want to be to locate it. We can look at identifying businesses. We do a broad spectrum of businesses: transport and logistics, convenience stores, coffee shops, petrol stations. So yeah, a good diverse mix of businesses that we do have to offer. Um, I've got one more question on the tax rate. David, we've already answered the tax rate question, but I'll just repeat that. So individual personal tax rate starts from 15%, goes to a top rate of about 33%. Businesses can pay a net tax rate of about 15%, and those businesses claiming a small business deduction can pay a net tax rate of as little as 9%. But again, there are a lot of caveats to this, and we have accountants who understand the tax code, who understand the system, and they can help you structure the businesses in the right way. Right. Another one is looking at companies on the intra-company transfer. Do you help to incorporate the companies as well? Yes, we do. Where we do incorporate companies depending on what the structure is it that you're looking for. We can identify which province will be a good fit for you. For example, British Columbia is a good place to set up a company if you don't have any local partners, or if you don't have a local employee in Canada, then British Columbia will allow you to set one up. Most of the other provinces will require at least one director to be based in Canada. So depending on what works and where you're at, we'll be able to work through. Um, just conscious of the time at the moment. I'm going to take in a couple more questions. I've got one here about a maximum age limit for the owner operator PNP to get a PR after 12 months of work permit. And typically the visa category, the owner operator, does not have a maximum age limit. What you have to be mindful of is you will be transitioning from this particular category to another category where age could be a requirement. So for example, if you were looking at the owner operator and then you wanted to move to the express entry, then you start losing points for age on express entry if you go above 40, 42. However, if you are going to the provincial nominee program as an investor or an entrepreneur, you will have a bit more leeway till about 50, 51 kind of a thing. So maybe you just have to be mindful about how those numbers will stack up, and we can look at it on a specific basis um, on there. I've got one more on just time to take one more. Um, how about the money that we take out of India, the RBI guidelines? Uh, well, I mean, the RBI does have a liberalized remittance scheme, which allows you to take out 250,000 US dollars on a single tax identity number or on a single PAN card. So if you're a family of four and you've got four PAN cards, then possibly looking at being able to take out a million odd dollars, assuming that it's all duty paid, and you've got evidence on the source of funds, then you should be fine on that front. Right. Okay. So we've got a few more around visa fees, processing times, and things like that. We will take those up on a one-to-one basis. I'm conscious that we're running short on time at the moment. So I do hope that you found this introductory session useful from an investor perspective, and it's opened up a few doors for you. What you see on the screen is our email address and our phone numbers, and the locations where we are based in. If you have any queries, or if you have any specific instances that you want us to have a look at, feel free to reach out to us on these numbers. Our team will be giving you a call in any which case to kind of get your feedback and understand if you have any specific requirements. And I look forward to speaking to you individually over the weekend and over the next week. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your attendance today, this evening. And as I said, we'll be making copies of this presentation available. There will be a link posted out for where the recording is going to be on our YouTube channel on Smartmove Immigration. And we remain available, and my team remains available to answer any specific questions that you may have. Thank you very much for your acknowledgements. Thank you very much for your time again. Stay safe and stay indoors as far as possible. And that's it from my side. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.